As seen from Michael Phelps' flawless style, we can quickly identify how efficient and effective this movement is when demonstrated correctly. Throughout this video, we will unpack key issues with the subject's performance comparatively to the professional swimmer, explaining how and why the regressions and progressions may be required to enhance learning potential. What is a streamline? Streamlining helps minimize your drag so you can swim easier, faster, and for longer. By reducing the amount of your body perpendicular 90 degrees to the direction you are moving through the water, you can reduce this drag. Streamline is a fundamental body position in swimming. Whether you swim long axis strokes, such as freestyle and backstroke, or short axis strokes, such as butterfly and breaststroke, there's some aspect of streamlining involved no matter what, from your push off the wall to your body position. Streamline is the fastest position in swimming. Each stroke incorporates some aspect of streamline in its technique, from the glide between breaststroke strokes to the traditional forward momentum of freestyle. To achieve this perfect streamline position, we can break it into 4 sections. Firstly, stack one hand on top of the other, wrap the top thumb over the bottom hand, extend your arms over your head, and locking your elbows out. Secondly, face the opposite side of the pool, tuck your chin to your chest and squeeze your ears with your biceps. Thirdly, keep the core engaged and squeeze your glutes. Think about becoming rigid like a pencil. And lastly, squeeze your legs together and point your toes. Push off in a straight line towards the other side of the pool. In the first steps of this analysis, we'll be analysing the subject's performance in relation to streamlining and form drag. Firstly, before even pushing off the wall, the learner is already at a disadvantage. To minimize drag, the learner should be facing towards the wall, then rotating after the push-off. This is because there is less drag when an individual's shoulders are facing vertically rather than horizontally. The learner pushes off the wall straight onto the other side of the pool, creating more form drag. The push-off that the learner displays is incorrect for numerous reasons. The learner rushes their push-off, leading to insufficient stability for the vertical push-off. As this method tries to mimic the vertical jump, we need to have both feet planted on the wall with a deep squat action trying to explode off the wall. As we can see, the learner needs to plant their feet on the wall, hip distance apart, with a slight bend in their knees, and 3 feet below the surface of the water. The learner also needs to extend their arms over their head and lock their elbows out before even pushing off. The learner has bent arms when pushing off and then proceeds to push their hands over their head. This is incorrect. After the push-off, the learner does not have their chin tucked to their chest, resulting in more form drag. When the head is in alignment with the body and the spine is straighter, the least frontal drag is encountered. Yet to maximize the power of the underwater pool, the lower back should be arched some, which results in an elevation of the head. The learner does not display this as their ears are not squeezed with their bicep and their back is not arched. When the learner pushes off, their hands split apart because they are not on top of one another and are not hooked by their thumb over to keep them secure. The learner's feet also come apart after pushing off the wall. Having your toes pointed and feet together is one of, or if not the most important aspect of the streamline. Yet it is the most common mistake. Most swimmers are concerned about what their upper body is doing, and a lot of the times forget about their lower body. When swimmers are in a streamline, it's very important to make sure they are pointing their toes to avoid excess drag if their feet are relaxed. This is one of the easiest ways to speed up your streamline. Now we will explore how different the professional streamline is in comparison to the learners, and analyze why these fine details are crucial to optimize efficiency and speed. When pushing off the wall, we see the professional slightly start rotating, but in a streamlined position. The importance of the streamline is to reduce drag and maximize speed. The push off the wall is the second fastest speed that a swimmer reaches during the length of a pool, just after the dive. At the moment that you push off the wall or launch yourself off the blocks, it's the fastest you'll ever be going while you're swimming. Your objective then is to maintain as much of that speed over the course of the length. Therefore, we see the swimmer keeping his shoulder angle, head position, and streamline to avoid producing drag. After pushing off the wall, he takes full advantage of his momentum and glides for as long and as far as possible. When pushing off the wall, we see the counter movement vertical jump has been divided into three components: unloading, eccentric, and concentric phases. The force profiles produced in the present study follow the same general pattern as those produced in vertical jump research, with the exception of the unloading phase. We can see this as the professional goes into a deep eccentric squat to explode out from the wall. The professional puts his arms out in front in a straight position, his hands are on top of each other, and he focuses on squeezing his ears so that he is like an arrow slicing through the water. His toes are pointed and his body stays parallel to the bottom of the pool, unlike the learner who cannot maintain a center of buoyancy, which leads to his legs dropping and the body moving into a 45-degree angle. The first regression activity was using the pool buoy as a center of buoyancy method and helping the learner to keep their legs together when pushing off the wall. As identified from the learner's analysis, a key issue that became apparent was how the learner's legs came apart and how they would drop to a 45-degree angle. Adding a pull buoy would not only help the learner's center of buoyancy, but would also make the learner squeeze their legs together to hold the pull buoy in place. After this was carried out, we can clearly see how effective this is, as the learner is now parallel to the bottom of the pool and their legs are straight and pointed, optimally reducing form drag. The second regression activity involves how the hands should be positioned when in your streamline. The activity uses the kickboard as a method of stability to keep your hands in the right position. The position consists of one hand placed over the top of the other, fingers interlocked, and raising your arms above your head so the biceps are tucked close to the ears. In the learner's initial performance, their hands were broken apart because of the pressure being applied against them when pushing off the wall. So the use of the interlocking fingers and wrapping their thumb was significantly important for the development of their performances. To progress on the learner's ability of streamlining, we have incorporated the dolphin kick in unison with the streamline. For a fast underwater dolphin kick, we have to kick fast and kick small, remembering that your underwater dolphin kick isn't about generating speed, it's about holding on to the speed you generate off the start and your turns for as long as you can. The kick needs to start from the hip rather than the knees to avoid increasing frontal drag from too much knee bend. The kick cycle time needs to be fast and the force needs to be applied in both directions with the feet, not just the downward kick. As the learner is in the cognitive stage, this movement will not be very effective as of yet, but with practice, the learner could potentially look like this. The second progression is transitioning from a tumble turn into a streamline. The purpose of a tumble turn is to avoid interruptions and extra rest during each turn at the walls, which is often tempting. Tumble turns will impose this non-stop rhythm. Improving your turn will result in faster splits. The main goal is to reduce the time spent rotating your body and to get as much momentum as possible to continue swimming. Studies have found that turns can positively or negatively influence races by between 0.5 and 1.5 seconds. To execute an effective tumble turn, you must first swim towards the wall at the same pace that you have been swimming the length of the pool thus far. The tumble turn proper starts approximately 1 meter with your arms by your side. Drop your head so that your chin meets your chest and bend your body at the hips and the knees to squeeze every last drop of explosive power out of you. Tuck your legs in tightly and place your feet firmly against the wall, pushing away with as much power as you can. Push yourself away from the wall, breathe out through your nose and stretch yourself out in a streamlined position. Your hands and arms extended above your head with one on top of the other. As you're pushing away, you'll also need to twist your body through 180 degrees before you start swimming again to ensure you're the right way up and you resume your stroke.